ED,
Yo,
I think you said it about 15 carries is about maybe a little too much for a quarterback.
well, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I was saying.
He got 16 and now his knee hurt. I'm just saying. This is the Believe in 49ers podcast on the Believe Podcast Network. He is Super Bowl champion Eric Davis. I'm Rahshaun. Haylock, plenty to get to on this show. We'll recap the loss down in the desert to the Arizona Cardinals. Also, Brandon Aiyuk got a couple more opportunities, but looks like those opportunities may not be coming fast enough, and the coach and the GM has been going back and forth and saying things about him. So we'll talk, of course, to our resident translator and coach speak. You speak GM too, Ed? I believe so, right?
A
A little
little bit.
bit, yeah.
A
So
little
so
bit. I'm
we'll,
still
we'll
working on that. It's kind of like Mandarin.
so we'll get you to break that all down as well. Want to encourage you and remind you, as always, to continue to download, subscribe, rate, and review. We're located wherever you find your podcast. If there's a like button or a follow button on your particular podcast subscription service, go ahead and hit that like or follow button. And feel free to hit us up on social media. I'm at Haylock on Twitter. He is at _ Eric Davis _ on Twitter, and on Instagram I'm at Watch Ray Ray. He is at Eric Davis _ As always, we're brought to you by the fine folks over at Bet Online, and of course, you got so many things going on right now. Hockey just started. You got the NBA about a week or so away. Baseball playoffs are going on, and of course, you got pro and college football. And Bet Online is your number one spot for all the pro and college football action this season with a updated site and interface, even more odds, props, and contests. BetOnline continues to be the number one source for everything football. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Don't forget to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to receive your bonus. From football, basketball, boxing, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet all your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts. He is Super Bowl champion Eric Davis. I am Rahshaun Haylock, and so here we go. You take a look at this game. Well, I guess first off, what did we learn, Ed? Right, coming off a loss. What did we learn about this 49ers team? You want to take a stab at it?
Well, I said going into that game that Kyle was going to have to pick some things up. I have learned that I don't think the plan on what they want to do is clear to any of them. That's what I learned from that game, number one, and I'm gonna leave it at that. I was gonna get on some individual play, but that's the thing that I learned. I don't think that there is a overall plan on what you want to do at the quarterback position right now.
Yeah, it looks like a little bit of a regression there as far as their offense goes, right? And I'm right there with you. I think one thing that I learned is that Kyle may have lost a little bit on his fastball, and
I disagree with you on that one, but we'll talk about it.
that just doesn't bode well for this team. Doesn't bode well for the offense. I just think the offense looks out of sorts. Offense looks sloppy at times in that game on Sunday at Arizona. So that's what I learned. So something ain't right. Right? Whether maybe it's not the fastball, maybe it's the changeup, maybe it's the curve, maybe the curve just ain't, maybe it's not as much bite on it.
Yeah, I can tell when the Dodgers win because you want to talk throw all those baseball analogies out there. I tell you, between you and my wife, I get enough Dodgers. Oh, goodness.
Look, hey, them boys in blue, man. What can I say? What can I
They had
say?
no choice. They had no choice.
They had
Man.
to. They had to. They had
Let's
to.
get back to
Right.
Kyle and his curveball is fire.
All right. So here we go. So we'll just get right into it. If you look at the box score, it says one turnover apiece, but in reality, as far as I go, as far as my scoring, which isn't necessarily official, Niners turned the ball over on their first three possessions. Right, you had the interception, then you had
Yep.
twice on downs.
Yep.
Niners 1 of 5 on fourth downs. At what point do you say, all right, maybe this whole fourth down thing just isn't working out?
Well, you're in a, well, that goes back to what I was saying before. You don't have a plan. You don't have a plan on what it is you want to do. When you're running your quarterback, I'm just because he can do it doesn't make it, it doesn't necessarily make it the smartest play call at that time. 3rd and 7. I saw 2 3rd and 7 where you're running your quarterback. It's the NFL. It's hard to have a running play with the best running back in the league. If you average 5 yards a clip, you're going to be the best running back in the league that year, on average. And you're trying to run the ball with your quarterback for 7 yards on 3rd down. That's letting me know you just don't have a plan. And you're not trying, and it's you just don't know what it is you want to do at that time. Now, you said something about Kyle losing his fastball. See, I disagree with that. Reason being, I've seen Kyle, and everyone who's talking about his game planning and all of this stuff, and I was getting this stuff on Twitter and people talking about his coaching, and I said, guys, you got to understand, coaching is hard. Coaching is in the NFL is very, very hard. Making coaching decisions are even harder. And that's what I was saying before.
That's where you make your money at, right?
It's not about coaching a guy and everyone's like, they need to teach him, the reads. I can teach you reads and progressions. I can teach you the playbook. But when you start the coaching decisions, the chess match starts. And you're kind of limited as the puppet master. I say this all the time. You're limited as the puppet master by what the function of the puppets, what they can actually do. And that's what I'm saying. I don't think you have a plan. I've seen Kyle Shanahan draw up really good offensive plans and have really good offenses with Kirk Cousins. I've seen him do it with Matt Ryan. I've seen him do it with Jimmy Garoppolo. So I don't think it's a question of him not knowing how to coach, how to put in a game plan. Remember with Jimmy Garoppolo, everybody was saying that Kyle Shanahan is a genius. Remember those days?
Yeah.
Now, what has happened? Yeah. So what has happened is right now things aren't going well because of some of the decisions that he made. The people that could save him can't save him now. So that's the issue right now. The guys that you kind of messed up the guys that could actually save you and make things easier on him. And I'll get into that in a little bit. So
you saying he doesn't have a plan? That's even more concerning to me than he lost a little bit on his fastball.
No. See, what you can figure out,
because if you lose something on your fastball, you at least got a plan. You're like, okay, I want to throw this here and this, count this, that, and the other. I may just don't have the velo, and then all of a sudden it's going over the fence.
Well, see, but come on now. But I just see if you lose your fastball, you can't get it back. You can draw up a new plan. So that's why I say it's not as dire as you would think. Right now, I don't feel like they have a plan because what he intended to do. Right now, you got to go in and get back on the chalkboard and make your adjustments. That's where they are right now.
How is this possible? Like, the draft was in April. You knew you were getting this guy. You knew you had a starter in Jimmy Garoppolo. You knew that he had been prone to injuries these last couple of years. Like, how do you get to this point? We're at the bye week, right? And we're 5 games in. How do you get to this point? And it does look like that to me. I kind of alluded to that in the game the previous week when Trey came in the second half. It looked like he didn't know. It looked like they didn't know what they were doing, right? It looked like let's try to find a play for Trey to run, right? And so you made the point that it's easier to say the game plan wasn't for Trey as opposed to my plays aren't working, right? This week we knew Trey was starting. You had the whole week, and it looked the same. It looked more or less like that second half in Seattle where it was like, okay, let's just run Trey because he can run.
Okay, but now let's go back to what I said from the entire draft, from that moment when he drafted him, what he's been saying the entire summer. Remember when I was telling you, why wouldn't I believe Kyle? He said it. Why do I think Jimmy's not starting? Because Kyle keeps saying Jimmy's starting. Then they got to Trey. He's not ready. Why do I say he's not ready? Well, the two people that coached him the most and know him the best, his college coach and Kyle, kept saying he's not ready.
Yeah.
But what has happened, and that's why I said the one guy that could save things, the plan that was built, they screwed it up. So now you have to make adjustments because the front office, Kyle Shanahan, everything, they allowed everyone to continue to let the narrative grow that Jimmy is the issue. Now, while saying Jimmy is my starter and the other guy's not ready, man, I was frustrated I didn't get a shot at Matt Stafford. Wow, I got this quarterback. The first time I saw him, we saw this thing, he and John Lynch are on the plane and they're talking about this guy and he's our guy and drawing up plays and we got to have this guy. So you start putting all of that out there. So now that's in the ether, and the guy that you keep continuing to say that is your quarterback is the player, the narrative grows that he's the problem. He's the issue. So now you got to make the adjustment because you're at a point to where, like I said, the guys that can save you, Jimmy Garoppolo was one of the guys that could save you, but you have turned everything against him. You've turned the franchise. You've turned the fan base. If you win with Jimmy, it doesn't matter because you've already said he's not your guy. You're at a point now. So that guy is the guy that could actually save you. That was the guy that I said he needs to start. You got an opportunity to win. You'll have a chance to compete and go deep into the playoffs. This is a playoff team with him. If you got a firm backing behind him, and let's see what he is. Is he the guy that's going to do it in spite of, or is he the guy that's going to just say, you know what, I'm not even about this? Seems like he's the in spite of guy, but he's not going to get that opportunity. Now, let's go back to Trey. Trey's not ready. You told me he wasn't ready. The game plan you saw, we're like, what's going on? Remember what I said? Puppet master can only do what the puppets are capable of doing.
Yeah.
I can't bend you in positions that you are not built to go into. I can't put you in places that you don't fit in. So that's the issue. So he said he wasn't ready. Now he has to play, and everyone's like, what's going on? Well, it's just, it's a process. He's not ready, but now you got to play him. You got to adjust. You have to figure it out because that's the only guy that can save you. Trey playing well is the only thing that's going to keep Kyle's job. It's the only thing. But he's not ready. But do you play him now? Because Jimmy is not going to save his job. It doesn't matter. If Jimmy comes in and plays well right now, it's still going to be on Trey because you already said that Jimmy's not your guy. But if you play Trey right now, guess what happens, man? The clock starts. Do you want to start that clock right now? Or do you want to start the clock next year? That's the dilemma. So they got to come up with a whole new plan on how they want to execute this and how they want to present it to the entire fan base. Because that's what I was saying. You need to stay off Twitter. You need to stay off social media. You need to stop showing all of your life and all of this stuff because you're getting into it to where you're playing that game to where you are doing you're putting stay off the podcast, putting your information out there because you are starting to get all this out to the fan base and now you got to answer to them.
Well, that's my whole thing, right? That's the reason why I think that Trey shouldn't have played at all, right? In terms of, going back to the beginning of the year, okay, we'll give him a package here, we'll give him a package there, this, that, or the other. Like, I just thought that was a bad idea from the get-go. And then to compound things, Jimmy gets hurt in a situation where you have to play him, where ideally, like, if you knew he wasn't ready and you knew the quarterback that you had in Jimmy, as long as you've had him, he's been hurt pretty much every year, right? And so why not have some sort of insurance policy in terms of another quarterback? Like, you had 3 quarterbacks last year. Like, why not have, another guy, to come in and be the backup? That's the part.
Coaching decisions we were talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the part that's so puzzling to me. Niners lose 17-10 in San Francisco or in Arizona. Cardinals remain the last undefeated team in the entire National Football League. when you look at by my calculation, I continue this defense the last 2 weeks has really impressed me. And I know I was kind of hard on them, a couple weeks ago going into the Seattle game, but I continue to be impressed by the efforts that they've put through.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the Seattle game, I felt like they did enough. We kind of went back and forth on that last week. Uh, this past Sunday, I thought it was quite the effort. I mean, they pretty much tamed Kyler Murray. They pretty much tamed that offense. They gave up 17 points. By my calculations, all 17 of those points came off turnovers, whether it was
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
standard turnover or whether it was turnover on downs.
They played long enough now to where it's time to start giving D'Amico his flowers, okay? Everybody loved Saleh for what those guys were doing on the field. These boys are playing, and he's doing it with he's doing it with smoke and mirrors, man. He doesn't have all his guys out there, and he's still in there competing. And the Cardinals are a good football team. That's a good football team. You know how I feel about that bird being on the side of your head, but I also will just what I see is what I see. It's got with my head. That's a good, really good football team, and they were competing there. The issue is that you don't have enough offense to help out right now. You just simply don't have any offense, and that's back to the whole figuring out a new plan and what it is you're actually going to do and how you want to play this out.
And that's the part that's so frustrating, right? Because your head coach is supposed to be this offensive genius, this quarterback whisperer, this guru, this all these things, all the things,
He's not.
all the things.
But Rahshaun, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that he's not, and this doesn't mean that he's not. The quarterback is just not ready to play yet. That guy's not ready to play, and his issue is that he has allowed everyone to believe, and he has shown signs that he also doesn't have faith in the guy that can actually play. Jimmy is the best quarterback on the team, and he should have done it from the start. I was with you. Trey shouldn't touch the field. You don't need to be up there trying to please everybody. I'm gonna put in packages for him, and I'm gonna show my shiny new toy off. Like, no, if the quarterback goes down, he's got to play. He's got to play. But until he's ready, there's no reason to put him out there. But now that you've done that, you can't go back. That's the thing. But Kyle still knows how to run offenses and draw up plays and design things. He's just done it with too many different guys for me to believe that he can't. This guy's just not ready.
I'm just a big fan of, and this is good teams, right? Good teams don't waste good performances, right? And it goes back to the whole complementary football thing that we were talking about last week. You got a good performance by your defense, offense, you need to be able to do enough to win the game, or vice versa, right? And so I feel like you've wasted two really good defensive performances, and you sit here now at the bye at 2-3 when ideally you should be 4-1 right now. And I think that's probably one of the more disheartening things.
Can I say something right there off of what you just said? You just said good teams don't waste good performances. Bro, we're not a good team. The Niners aren't a good team right now.
They're not.
You gotta admit that. You're still scouting with your heart. They're not a good football team. I told you got to stop scouting with your heart. I want them to win as much as anyone, probably more than most. They're just not a good football team right now, and that's what I'm trying to say is that part of being a good football team is also having that plan, that philosophy. This is what we're going to do. You've heard me say this before, that a winning record doesn't necessarily make you a winning football team. It's a certain mindset that you have when you are a winning team.
Just like talent doesn't make you a good team either. Absolutely.
Yeah, talent doesn't make you a good team. It's about the philosophy. It's about the way you do things. It's about the way guys pick one another. It's about the guys like who shows up when something happens. How do the other guys elevate? I told you this whole next man mantra. It's like this is the next man up. Doesn't matter. If the next man can't play, it doesn't matter. If the next man is not as bad as the dude who was there before, it doesn't matter about the next man up. It's the other 10 guys. I've always told you that. When a guy goes down, the other 10 guys know that, okay, there's no room for error because we can't expect this guy to do what the starter did, or he'd be starting.
Yeah.
You don't expect that.
I'm glad you said that, because that's perfect segue. You've done this before, right, Ed? Perfect segue into our next.
Last week was my first.
He is Super Bowl champion Eric Davis. I'm Rahshaun Haylock. This is the Believe in 49ers podcast on the Believe Podcast Network. Feel free to hit us up on social media. I'm at @Haylock on Twitter. He's at _ Eric Davis _ This whole back and forth thing with Brandon Aiyuk is like, at first, like, I was hearing the faithful and I was like, all right, just whatever, chill out. Like, now I'm bothered, right? Like, now I'm bothered, like significantly, right? Because it's like, what is going on? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? This is the best of your, in that wide receiver room. He's the best guy on the team. And I know I've given Debo his flowers for what he's been able to do so far this season. He was great. Took a little bit of a step back last Sunday against the Cardinals. Aiyuk came in. He had some flashes, made a couple of really tough catches on some questionable balls thrown his way from the rook. But it's
that one where he reached behind. A lot of people say that was a great catch, and that was a great catch, but that was also a that was a big time professional throw. He threw the ball. That throw, the one where he reached behind him and the one with the one-arm grab. That throw, if Trey throws that ball out in front of him, one or two things happens. Either it's a pick or BA is on IR, because he was going to lead him into danger. He threw the ball into the area after reading the defense. He threw the ball in a spot to where it was going to be an opportunity for his receiver to make a play, because he can put his body in between. Troy Aikman used to do that. He used to run me crazy, and Dan Marino too, while they would throw the ball in the area where the guy could shield you, because you can't go through him. It's pass interference. So where they can use their bodies and turn their bodies to get to the ball. That was a great, that right there, personally, everybody freaked out on the hitch route that he threw outside. I was like, it's a hitch. It was like a 7-yard hitch. Everybody's going crazy to the one that BA caught on the sideline. I mean, it was a hitch. It was a good throw, but it was a hitch route. That was a good throw. That was his best throw of the night. But now, continue. I'm sorry.
General Manager John Lynch saying, kind of echoing what Kyle was saying earlier, right? Like, BA needs to take the next step. But at the same time, he's saying he's talented. He's a very hard worker. But he has to earn his opportunities. So if you're working hard in practice, you're getting after it. I mean, isn't that where you earn your opportunities? Where am I missing what am I missing here? Like, what are we doing? Like, why this whole, like, it seems like they're like just effing with them.
Well, so first of all, opportunities are going to be given and taken. Like I say about, winning a job, losing a job. He's got to learn how to be a pro in certain things that they want him to do. And it's a process for everyone to figure out. Number one, how does he practice? Every guy doesn't go 100 miles per hour in practice.
He says he's a hard worker.
Listen, a hard work. There are a lot of things that are involved hard work. Watching film, having discussions with the coach and understanding, the intent, like I said, about, it's not just the play and the X goes here when the O does that. It's the intent of the play. What are you trying to create? Why do you run this route this way? Why do you clear out on this particular route this way? Why do I need you to finish in this position on this play? How is it going to affect play A? How is that going to affect B and C that we want to run off of that action? And I need you to look this way to make the linebacker or the safety or the corner react a certain way. All of those things happen. Just like the interception that Zaire got in Green Bay, in the Green Bay game, because no one held that corner. Could that necessarily been a situation where, okay, I need you to make this guy feel this way, and the previous plays didn't do it? So you look at that and say, okay, He's working hard, but he's not really doing all the things that we want him to do because that particular play he doesn't understand. So that's what I'm saying is a lot goes into, so you can be working hard, but a lot goes into taking advantage of the opportunities and doing the things that you need to do. The number one thing is making plays in a game. Making plays in a game. Will you make these plays in a game? They have to give him opportunities. They drafted him number one. So they have to give him opportunities to make the play. So I'm with you on where you're saying he's working hard, he's talented. Okay, he's talented, he's working hard, then throw him the ball. Because the only play you can make is the one that you have to make. Football's not that hard, man. And we used to say that all the time. That's all you got to do. Make the play that you're supposed to make. The play that, catch the ones that come to you. He cannot catch the ones that aren't thrown to him. He can't. He can catch the ones that come to him. That's it. So if you want him to catch more, throw him more. And if you're saying he's a hard worker, you're saying he's talented, then throw him more. And if you're not throwing him more, then that goes back to, is that his fault or is that back on coaching decisions? Because you can't tell me the guy works hard, he's very talented, but I need more. Then give him more. I haven't been seeing BA drop balls. Have you?
I haven't.
Okay. So that means you're not giving him enough opportunities, but goes right back to how we started all of this. I don't know if they have a plan. I can't see a legitimate plan of operation on how you want to utilize the talent that you have. And that's the hardest thing of being a coach. I'm not trying to sit here and say I know how to do it. I'm not trying to sit here and say that I could do this. And that's what you get all over, social media. Like it's easy. You just tell a guy to throw the ball deep and Kyle just needs to just let it go and just line up every play and throw the ball deep and the offensive linemen need to protect all these guys. It's a lot harder than that. But what I do know, it ain't my job to do it. It's his, and it's not being done right now. So that's my whole thing with BA. If you give BA more opportunities, if he's dropping balls, then it's on him. But if you're saying he's working hard, he's talented, you need to see more. The only way you're going to see more is to throw him more. That's the only way. The only way you can see if BA can perform is to put the ball in his hands. Where you saying you expect him to start running punts back? Because you put him back as a punt returner. Do you mean you want to see more out of his punt return to give you better field position? You know what I mean? You gotta give him more opportunities. You can't say a guy can't do it when you're not giving him a chance to do it. And if you are saying this guy, I need more, and his numbers aren't going up, his opportunities aren't going up, it's like a running back. That we need more production out of this running back, but you're giving him 5 touches a game. Is it his fault that he's not producing, or is it the offensive play selection? Which goes back to coaching decisions. So I don't know. You can't tell me a guy's good and then say he's not good enough when when you're not using him.
Yeah, I mean that's what it sounds like to me. I'm baffled, man. Like for real. Like I'm really, and this isn't even necessarily because I thought they were going to win on Sunday. Like I was pretty realistic and not having
full disclosure on the pod after the pod. We both said they're not going to win this game.
Yeah. Like I didn't expect them to win out there on Sunday.
I didn't either. You didn't ask me on the pod, but after the pod, you asked me about it, and on the pod after the pod. And I said they're not going to win this game. Arizona's a better football team right now.
Yeah, so it's not even so much that they lost, it's just the manner in which they lost, right? Like you see the strides being made on the defensive side, but then offensively, I'm seeing basically what I saw in the second half against Seattle. I'm seeing the things that you're talking about in terms of like not having a plan.
There we go.
I'm just seeing so much. There's just so much talent on this team, like, and it's not like there's a million new pieces. Like, I understand, like, trying to work in a guy here, there, whatever. Obviously, if you have a new quarterback, that's a huge thing. but Trey technically isn't your starter, right? So like some of this stuff was happening when Jimmy was in there too, right? It just looked different because Jimmy wasn't running it 16 times. And so it's mind boggling.
Trey's not gonna run it 16 times again.
no,
Trey has to learn how to be a pro quarterback, and he's going to learn like on that goal line. In college, he was scored. When he ran into those guys right there, he's a big man. He would have run through those guys. He would have done that. He's going to realize that 185 pound corner in the NFL will knock him out. It's like going against a professional boxer. And and you see these little tiny dudes, and you're like, oh man, I'd kill that dude. Like, no, he knows how to hit you.
Yeah.
And more importantly, he knows how to be hit. And that's what happens. And Trey's going to learn that you can't run over everyone. You can't put yourself in that type danger. You're not going to survive it. You got to learn to sit down. It's a reason they have the rules in for quarterbacks the way they do, because you get injured. And they know that that is the game, and they're trying to protect the stars. He's a star. But trust me, quarterbacks out there, it's like you get a pick. That's the first person everybody looks for. You want to hit that guy when you get a chance. And if you got to knock yourself out, knocking him out, okay.
Yeah, you'll take that for the team, right?
He's going to learn that. So now back to where you were saying that you didn't expect the team to win. The offense didn't look like you wanted it to look. That's because of, again, everything that has been filtering out, everything that is being said in the Twitterverse, that Trey is the man and you got to move forward with Trey, and Trey is going to get there, and all these things. And it has been, that belief has been strengthened by Kyle and John. John's not saying anything, which sometimes leads to you believing that he's complicit with what Kyle is saying, because Kyle he continues to do things that make you believe that Jimmy is not the answer. So it's got to be Trey. But Jimmy is the guy right now. Jimmy is the only guy you can win with right now. You've kind of ruined that. So the expectation, this offense didn't look like what I was expecting it, and what's the plan and all this stuff. Trey didn't play poorly. Trey played like a rookie quarterback. He played like most rookie quarterbacks. He did not have a bad game. Trey has not had a bad performance yet, but everyone expects him to come in and be like Lamar Jackson. Yeah. You expect him to be Patrick Mahomes. You expect him to be Herbert. You expect him to be Allen. And he's not there yet. He hasn't had he's got to grow. He's got to get there. Kyler Murray, as a rookie, was throwing the ball to everybody. Everybody. Didn't matter what color uniform you were wearing. And how many games did they win? Very, very few. So you got to decide. That's what I'm saying. The plan. You got to decide what you want to do now moving forward. You may as well, what I've said the entire time about Jimmy Garoppolo. He's your guy. He's a starter, and he needs to play. First time you can hear me say this. It's time to play Trey. Play Trey. Trey should be the starting quarterback for the 49ers moving forward. Okay. It's time to start the clock. It's time to start the clock on Trey. It's time to start the clock on Kyle, because that is the guy that you have now hand selected. You picked one guy. Jimmy Garoppolo was your guy. You told the world he's no longer your guy. I'm going to give you that mulligan. Now you drafted a guy. This is your guy. The other guy can't save you now. Trey's the only one that's going to save you. There's no reason for me to wait until next year to see if you're right. It's time to start the clock on Trey right now. No, I do not expect Trey to be anything other than a rookie quarterback. But I'd prefer he be that now than next year. And because you don't get better, what I say, you can learn on the sideline, but you don't get better until you play. And Trey's not going to get better until he plays. So you may as well let him play. You have put it out there. He's your guy. I know he's not ready. It's obvious he's not ready. But what did you say after the game? Trey played good enough to win. You have always said when it's close, we got to think about it. It's not an issue. Well, if the guy that you drafted as a rookie, and at the number 3 position is playing football that's well enough to win already, you got to put him on the field. It's time. So now here we go back to those decisions. That's what I said. I started this off. What's your plan? I got to see your plan. Coaching is not about the best coaches. It's not about you drawing up a plan. It's not about you telling me this is what we need to do and teaching me the X's and O's. Coaching at the NFL level is about leading men. And you know, the most difficult thing when it comes to leading men is walking into a room of alpha, badass NFL players saying, I know I told you to do this and it would work. Forget what I said. I was wrong. Listen to me. We're going to do this. It's going to be effective and we're going to win. If you can't adjust, if you can't game plan, if you can't get men to believe that, you are useless as a coach. If you can't look me in the eye and show me, not just tell me, but show me, convince me through and through that, okay, what you're telling me to do now, after everything that you told me before was going to work, didn't work, what you're telling me to do now will work. Kyle has to make his adjustments right now. He's got to get on it. It's that simple. That's the analogy I'll give you. It's halftime. You're walking in there. You've been getting your butt kicked. This is what we're going to do, guys. These are the changes we're going to make. We've seen what they've done. We've seen what they've presented. This is our best line of defense, of offense. This is how we're going to attack them, and we're going to come out with the victory on the other side of it. You got to do that with number 5 now. That 5 should be the starter. That's all you're going to hear from me right now. I'm not saying he's the best quarterback. I'm saying he has to be the starter now.
Wow.
So you can tell everybody I said it. And that there's no other reason, there's no other guy that can save Kyle. It's got to be 5. He said so. He ain't getting Matt Stafford. He wanted him. He told me you don't want Jimmy. Okay? The only other guy you wanted was Stafford.
Yeah. Niners on a bye this week. Was not expecting to hear that from you, ED. I'm stunned. I'm a little stunned. But great tease. I told you you've done this before, obviously. Great tease for the next one. Niners on a bye this week. We'll be back later this week to discuss the bye, discuss the steps going forward, and even break this down a little bit more in terms of what my man ED just said. 5 now has to be the guy going forward under center for the Niners. Feel free to continue to download, subscribe, rate, and review. We're located wherever you find your podcast. If there's a like or a follow button, go ahead and hit that like or follow button and hit us up on social media as well. I'm at Haylock on Twitter. He is at _Eric Davis _ and on Instagram, I'm at Watch Ray Ray. He is at Eric Davis ____. That's 4 underscores, 1 less than 5, who ED says should be the quarterback going forward.
I see what you did
there. Wow. So from a partner, Super Bowl champion Eric Davis, I'm Rahshaun Haylock. This has been the Believe in 49ers podcast on the Believe Podcast Network. We will see you later this week.
Peace.